situationship is weird.
A situationship is when you guys are not exclusive.
What are we?
Yes.
Were they, weren't they?
But there's real feelings there.
I think when there's a situationship, someone always feels more than the next. There's always one who's like, yeah, but
I think it's a fear of commitment.
no, but it's also just greed. It's like,
You like me, but like you also want to see other people.
you know, it's a buffet situation.
Yeah.
You want to have chicken, beef,
And a roti and everything.
Yeah, but you actually like chicken.
That's why I'm like, we should start a support group. I really feel like we should start like a situationship anonymous where we have you been
Self-love is walking away from that situationship that you've been in for like 6 months. That 3-month talking stage where you ask yourself, what is it still looking for? What does it still want to find out that he doesn't know yet? And he just says, no, I'm just getting to know you. Is he still getting to know you, or is he trying to get to use you? Even software trial period runs for like a maximum of like a month. Anything beyond that, no, you have to subscribe to premium features. Now, you're making him enjoy premium features on a trial period for a good 3 months, 4 months. You need to unsubscribe to that. Situationships where you don't know where you stand. You ask him, what are we? We're kissing, we're smashing and all that. So what are we? And he's like, no, don't worry. I don't like titles. For so long, that's a chronic commitment evader. It's not like he doesn't know how to make decisions. You're just not the decision he wants to make.
If it's not a relationship, it's nothing at all. To be quite frank, situationships only benefit the person that's not willing to commit. And the time that's wasted is the person that wants the relationship, the person that wants to make it work. And I think our generation has normalized situationships. Oh, I'm in a situationship with this person. OMG. I want to scream every time I think about a time I've ever entertained a situationship. Because what a waste of my time. What a waste of everyone's time involved. Because what are we doing? Senzani. Because the other person is well aware that the other person doesn't want to commit, but you're still trying to convince them for dear life. Trying to convince them that this is the thing, that it's worth it, like give it a shot. But they don't want to. They don't want to give it a shot. They don't want to give it a shot with you. And that's why it's a situationship. And I'm choosing to decenter those things in 2026 because it's lame, it's boring. No.
I'm not going to hold your hand when I say this because they look sticky. But it's psychologically impossible, energetically impossible, physically impossible to find yourself in a situationship unless at least one person has compromised self-esteem and one person has compromised integrity. I'm going to repeat that again for the folks who want to fight me. It is psychologically impossible to find yourself in a situationship unless at least one person has compromised self-esteem and one person has compromised integrity. And before you say something like, but no, Blue, he's a good dude, I'm a good person, I'm a boss-ass bitch, it's just complicated. What does that have to do with what I just said? I didn't say you weren't a good person. This is not about being a good person. It's about the strength of your character, or in this case, the lack thereof any. Let's get into it. Now, for anybody who does not know what a situationship is, I got you, right? A situationship is an ambiguous romantic entanglement in which at least one party finds themselves constantly feeling dismayed and or unfulfilled. They want more than what they're getting, right? And a lot of times when I say this definition in my classes, the first pushback I get is, but Blue, it's not ambiguous. You said it's an ambiguous romantic entanglement. It's not ambiguous. Technically, they knew what it was and they agreed to this. Pause, right? I teach about ego death. Pause. Only people who lack integrity rely on technicalities to make up for their lack of compassion. People who have a strength of character, who actually care about their impact on others, don't need to rely on technicalities to do the right thing. The example that I always give to explain why technicalities cannot be used to override having any sort of compassion or care about your fellow man is, imagine you're at a party with a friend. You're not best friends, but you're decent friends. And you see that this person looks like they've been drinking a lot. And as they grab their keys to leave the house, you say to them, hey friend, are you good to drive home? And they say, yeah, I'm good to drive home. I'm fine. But as they're saying it, you're noting their nonverbal, because communication is over 90% nonverbal. You're seeing that they have bloodshot eyes, they smell like alcohol, they're slurring their words, they're swaying back and forth. Even though they technically told you that they were okay to drive themselves home. What are you going to do if you're a decent person when you see that their words are not aligning with their actions? What are you going to do when you realize that somebody that you care about in any capacity is about to do something that's obviously harmful? In the example that I gave, most of us would intervene for obvious reasons. We want to stop someone from causing themselves unnecessary harm due to an altered and compromised mental state. I just described what it's like when someone with low self-esteem is in a situationship. Instead of being drunk on alcohol, they're drunk on low vibrational attachment masquerading as love. And the person who lacks integrity now is the sober person who recognizes that they are getting something from someone that they have not earned and probably don't deserve. Instead of taking away the keys from a drunk driver, the equivalent would be stepping away and clearing the path for that person who's catching feelings to find someone who actually deserves them. So why don't we do that? Why do we rely on technicalities? Ding, 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 lack of integrity. And because I am very sex positive, I want to very specifically speak to my free love girlies, right? The girls who are like, no, Blue, I just, I think it's real sexy and provocative to like make out with my friends and have no reasonable boundaries to keep people safe. I just think it's cute and sexy. Pause, sis. I need you to understand from your big sis at my big age, there's nothing sexy or provocative about feasting on scraps and sitting around hoping that someone will get so tired that they'll pick you as their last resort. That is not sexy. It is sad. In fact, the gag is whether you're the person with low self-esteem, the person with low integrity, or a combination of both, a walking biohazard. The one thing that you and the person that you are in a situationship have in common is that neither of you like you enough.
Has a situationship ever turned into a relationship? Big boss. Everyone I know has a traumatic situationship experience. No, he laid me on for 7 months. No, me and this girl were talking for 2 years, dog, but she was never ready. So I went, who has ever successfully made it out? who has successfully jigga-majiggered a situationship? You guys are close to boyfriend and girlfriend, but just not yet. So you can't be jealous, but you can be angry, but you can't be too angry. So it's just a mixed robot sign. You don't know if it's red or yellow. It's just orange. When now? Who has escaped? Who has escaped a mixed content creation with another heart? Who has escaped?
In my long-term situationship experience, I have learned that when it comes to these things, like the other partner might not, in most cases, they don't see you as, the partner they would actually be in a relationship with. And they do like you, but they just don't like you how you think they like you. And obviously with these people, the behavior changes in a sense of how they treat you. Like maybe the first 3 months, they will treat you like a situationship, and then in the long run they just start changing and treating you like a boyfriend, but they're not really a boyfriend, like semi-boyfriend, if you could put it like. And that's them manipulating you into becoming loyal to them without them being loyal to you. So basically he's making you commit to him, but he's not committed to you. And obviously you would think to yourself, maybe he's seeing me as the girlfriend and he's gonna ask me, but darling, he will never ask you to be his girl ever. You will remain as a situationship. But in the worst case, he will find a girlfriend while you are there. And trust me, they do like you. In most cases, they like you. I just feel like they like how you carry yourself more than they like you. Like they like how you carry yourself around them, how you carry yourself out there, your morals, how you make them feel manly, how you respect them, how you make them feel heard, and the fact that they can't find that anywhere, especially with the girl that they're not in a relationship with. Oh, and the fact that they have all this without putting any effort into the situationship. Also, they know what's in whatever situation you find yourself in out there, you will always put them first, you will always consider their feelings, you will always respect them. Because why? This person has manipulated you and he made you think that he will ask you out and he will see you as a girlfriend, but he will never. And just know that men in 3 months time, they just know this relationship or whatever situationship will last. And if it's a situationship, 3 months already, he knows it's okay. You can be his girlfriend, like you are the right type or the right woman to be the woman in his life, or you are not and you will remain a situationship. So angazi ukuthi bengiyaphi ngale, but I hope niyangizwa.
I have to be honest, I am realizing that I'm finding it hard getting over a situationship than a relationship. But situationships men are a bit hard because there's just this undying need for approval from someone that they refuse to give you. So you act out of character, trying to ensure that somebody sees your value and your worth. And it's also feeling like you keep giving yourself to somebody that refuses to give 100% of who they are because they don't want to define it. And because they don't want to define it, you can't hold them to a standard. You can't even have expectations for those people. So if they disappoint you, it's almost like you're saying it's okay because he didn't come up forward and say, can you please be my girlfriend? Also entertaining it further, and I'm realizing now that like I've got an anxious attachment style, and being in a situationship doesn't really soothe it or get me to being secure. Constantly worried that I'm not enough, that I can't equate to somebody thinking that them spending time with me should be enough, or I don't feel like I'm praised. Nobody sits me down and says, hey Lungi, you're overthinking this, come down. So I'm always just in my own parallel universe where I'm just making shit up because somebody just refuses to give me a title.